Okay, now we're going to talk about M. Night Shyamalan's latest piece, Trap, which is starring Josh Hartnett, who was kind of a big deal back in the early noughties, around that time. He was kind of a good actor, I thought. He's done some good stuff. He was in The Bear as well recently. I know you haven't caught up with that yet, but he's in the.
And Oppenheimer he was in.
Of course. How could I forget he was in Oppenheimer? I didn't watch Wrath Man, but he was good in Oppenheimer as well. Like quite a straight role, playing a scientist and,
He's had a bit of a comeback in the last couple of years of doing things, yeah.
You'd watched this before me. You said it was awful. Our friend Michelle has also watched it, said it was awful. So I thought, well, I've got to watch it just to see how awful it is, Sometimes people telling you something's awful makes you want to watch it more.
I got to see it for myself.
I mean, I like M. Night Shyamalan to a point. I thought, when he started out, Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, brilliant films, the pair of them. I wasn't a massive fan of Signs, but I enjoyed The Village, and then I kind of lost touch with him since then, really. I didn't watch Old, which you mentioned to me earlier, a year or so ago. I didn't watch that. But this one, I thought, well, it's time to. I watched the trailer and I thought, okay, interesting premise. Let's find out what it's all about. So basically, it's this guy. He is taking his daughter to this concert, kind of like Taylor Swift or Ariana Grande or something. The hottest kind of teen pop star of the time, called Lady Raven, who was actually played by Saleka Shyamalan. Is that his daughter?
His daughter, yes.
So, but she was very good actually in the role, I thought. So anyway, they go to this concert. He's taking his daughter there, but then we soon found, there's all these cops surrounding the place and all these SWAT teams, and there's loads of them, loads more than there should be. And you think, what's going on here? It's quickly revealed that actually there's a serial killer in the building somewhere, and they've led him into they know he's going to be at the concert, so they're just basically, that's the idea of the trap. They're going to get him before he leaves. And then we find out, hey, it's Josh Hartnett is the butcher. He's the serial killer, even though he's there with his daughter, and he's actually quite a good dad. He's taking her to this concert. He's really sweet with her. He's, it's just like little things start to happen. You think, oh no, he's actually is a psychopathic serial killer. But it's all about him, how he's going to escape from the, I don't know, it's like a big stadium, isn't it? Stadium concert. How's he going to get out without being caught with the cops? And that's kind of the plot. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought, considering what I'd heard and from what you'd said, I didn't think it was the worst film ever. It was very cheesy. It was very sort of formulaic in some ways, but I thought in other ways it tried to be, it was trying to be quite original in the sense that, I haven't really seen this story before about a serial killer who's actually a dad and is escaping from this huge public place, So there was definitely a potential in the idea of the story. I don't think it quite hit the mark as much as it could have done or should have done. And I think it possibly, considering he's supposed to be this psychopathic killer, probably could have had a little bit more gruesome, grisly stuff in there that he started to hint towards but didn't really follow through with. But I didn't think it was as terrible as other people did. But, let's pass it over to you and you can tell me why it was much worse than I'm saying.
Well, obviously it should have been called Crap and not Trap, because that's what it is. Shyamalan, obviously, we know what he is like as a filmmaker. I agree with you. Some of his earlier stuff I really enjoyed and much preferred. Stuff like The Village and stuff was really great stuff, Sixth Sense. But more recent stuff has been very murky. I haven't watched the Cabin one, which was the last one he did, but the one before that was old, and I watched that, and I loved the concept he'd come up with in that one, but the dialogue and stuff was atrocious. And again, here in this film, I thought the dialogue was just very silly. It's not a bad premise, I guess. It's not the most interesting, I don't think. Even the premise starts to stretch kind of. Would the police and the FBI really locked down an entire fucking concert in this way, and the costs and all this. It seems a bit silly, but fine, we'll go along with it. I'd say he's great. He's always been a good actor. He kind of plays it kind of right. But I just say one of the first problems is if he's supposed to be this terrible serial killer and all this dastardly trying to escape, he doesn't really do much. The best thing he did was the first thing he did, where he knocks this woman down the stairs kind of thing, like really, it was a subtle but sadistic thing to do.
Yeah.
And I sat there thinking, by the end of it, I wanted more of that. I wanted him to be taking people out here, there, and everywhere as part of this whole thing, but he didn't.
Well, he does that thing where he put the pop bottles in the deep fat fryers and that exploded in that woman's face. That was another one he did. That was to create a diversion and other people being collateral damage.
But there was something about that was a little bit silly, and I don't know what it was, but it was like, not really buying this. Okay. But then it starts doing things like going up to the roof, and there's like 5 cops there. And it's just, I went in the wrong direction. And it's a very silly
He said, I come up for some fresh air or something.
Fresh air or something. So every time something like that happened, it was so ridiculous. Okay. And he'd befriend a T-shirt merchant and get dragged into a room backstage.
That T-shirt guy, I thought, yeah, exactly. He got buddy with him. And I thought with the box cutter and everything, he was going to end up slashing the hell out of him. Which you'd think a character like that would have done for some reason. But no, he was like,
completely held.
Don't want to cut yourself. Give him back the knife.
Give it him back. But then even the fact that they made friends was really weird and was like that would happen.
I think that's the idea, though. He was like he's a fireman and he's a dad and he's like nice with his daughter. So it was supposed to be this Jekyll and Hyde type thing where he is an upstanding, nice guy. He even helps those people at that one point, doesn't he? Again, to help himself when they're backstage. Yeah. He carries that girl out, and it's obviously just so he doesn't get spotted by that profiler. But there's that side of him that could be a really nice, upstanding citizen. He's a fireman. He's really good dad and all this. But he's also this psychopathic killer. It didn't quite fit, did it?
Yeah, but I think the problem is that the scenarios they were putting him in started to stretch reality at that point. Okay, he takes the girl backstage. The security would have then said, fuck off, back out to the seats, mate. We'll deal with this because we're paramedics. They wouldn't have let him hang around. It's all starts to get silly. And then you get to the point of you can kind of accept, you get over most of these things that happen in the arena. And then you get to the point of, right, now we leave the arena and there's this whole thing about going to their house with Lady Raven or whatever.
Yeah.
And at that point, the film loses all sense of structure and reality and just becomes weird.
Well, I was quite shocked that he was still married. I thought if they turned up at the house, there was going to be some sort of, well, he doesn't actually live there anymore and he just picked her up to take her away. But then there's a son and there's a wife and he's standing with them and it's kind of like, oh, that doesn't seem to fit quite right.
No.
So his motivation was just not there, was it? It was supposed to be he was mistreated by his mother because there was this whole idea of playing the Oedipus complex on him about his mom and stuff, and that didn't seem to wash.
No, it felt very, very, very strange. The best thing there is Alison Pill. I know it's Maggie from the newsroom. She's been in lots of stuff. She played the wife. Fantastic performance, and that whole bit was actually really interesting when it came just to them two. But the whole sequence from when they left, it really fell apart into kind of, this makes no sense, this is silly, this is stupid, it looks ridiculous. I just couldn't buy any of it. And at that point I was going, this is just... The problem with most of his more recent films, it falls apart at the end.
It's like he's got a good little idea for a film, but then he just gets carried away and it just doesn't go anywhere. I mean, talking of that scene with just him and his wife in there, and it's revealed she poisoned him. You can see it coming a mile off because, let's have some cake one last time, sit down together before you get arrested or whatever. And she's poisoned him with the stuff that he's been knocking people out with. But not only does it not quite knock him out properly, he then gets tasered about 3 or 4 times. And it's like he's got this superhuman strength. He gets the one guy down, he's pushing his eye. And it's like, I think most men, no matter how well built they are and stuff like this, after being dosed up with a shitload of Rohypnol or whatever it was, and then getting tasered by 3 different individuals is enough to put you out for at least 24 hours before you can actually operate again. And he goes on for ages after that.
It was very upsetting.
I think it's got to be a thumbs down, yeah. I'm sorry, Shyamalan, but he had a cameo in there. That was nice to see. And like you say, he got his daughter in there, and she didn't do a bad job of her part.
No, she was
convincing as that kind of like pop star icon, but yeah, I don't know, not great. Thanks very much for watching this video. We really appreciate it. The best way to support this channel is by dropping us a like and subscribing. Other ways to support us include buying me a coffee and Patreon. This video was sponsored by funkyt-shirts.co.uk. Check out their website for a full range of awesome t-shirt designs. You can find all the links in the description.